I find it's cool because I interview people that you can literally see in the grocery store.
Yeah,
When you're going
totally, yeah.
shopping. So it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I saw you on, the podcast or whatever. And so it's just people you can see in everyday life.
Who is the most famous person you had on the podcast?
Most famous person, good question.
Or people?
So I've had the Cajun Ninja. I recently had the Cajun Mamas, Cole Malone.
Cajun Mamas, I was thinking them, yeah.
They were really great.
Because they're from Church Point?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Got it.
Yes. So that was a really great interview for sure. And I also had a ZZ Loop.
ZZ Loop,
It was towards the very beginning of it, so I had him on as well. Great storyteller as well for sure. So I had on a few, so it was all great. But it's a lot of people that you can see. Kyle Crosby as well. My boy.
Gumbo review.
Gumbo review. And that's it.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Louisiane, the only podcast 100% dedicated to Louisiana culture, communities, and our heritage French language. On Louisiane, we interview native speakers of Louisiana French and Creole, as well as culture bearers, including chefs, musicians, dancers, Mardi Gras practitioners, fishermen, artisans, and more. We need your support to keep our fight alive for Louisiana language and culture. Please support our show by going to louisiane.org and becoming a paying subscriber. Merci beaucoup et lâche pas.
Grant Ordoyne. Hello. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, et toi?
Très bien.
Très bien. That's a good answer, even though it's been a long day. Okay, well, so you are also a podcaster.
I am.
So really happy to be talking to you. Been a big fan.
Appreciate that.
Of your work. And before we get started more about like kind of the podcasting side and the culture side, can you give us a sense of who is Grant Ordoyne? Where are you from? What made you the person you are today?
So it's funny because I'm from Chackbay, but I grew up in Bayou Buff with Kramer, like right down the road from Chackbay. So it's kind of like I literally moved like 5 miles up the road, and so that's pretty much the thing. But my dad's from Choctaw, so I kind of grew up there too. So I call me like a little tribe blend, you know what I'm saying, between the Choctaw, Kramer, Chackbay area and whatnot. So it's from that vicinity.
Okay, so then let's situate it for people. Where are Chackbay, Choctaw, and Kramer?
It's literally right next to each other.
But it's like it's that area between like North Lafourche and.
I feel like it's all North Lafourche.
But it's between North Lafourche and St. James is kind of right, or
yes, correct.
It's where like North Lafourche meets kind of St. James.
Exactly, it's on that line.
And so, is it east of Bayou Lafourche?
How'd you say that? It's kind of like north of.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what are the waterways that are close by?
So you have Bayou Chevrolet.
Okay, got it.
That's like right by it. Because I go kayaking there a good bit, actually. So it's a great time.
And do you still live in Chackbay?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do.
I love that. Chackbay, I feel like it's one of the forgotten towns of Lafourche. Because I feel like Thibodaux, everybody knows about. And then I feel like down the bayou, because there's so many of them down there. It's well known. And then I feel like there's a few like legends that have made like the Bobby A. Bears and the Ed Ogerons.
Of course.
Now everyone kind of knows what Cut Off the Rose is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Okay, so growing up in Chackbay, so did you go to high school up there?
So yeah. So what happened was I went to Bayou Buff Elementary.
Okay, Bayou Buff, because you were born in Bayou Buff, right?
Yeah. So I was in the Bayou Buff area when I growing up. So that's a funny story. So Bayou Buff Elementary. Went in the Little Red Schoolhouse for kindergarten. It's actually a historical landmark, so really great. It's actually Ida kind of wiped out Bayou Buff Elementary in general, though. So they actually are currently using Chackbay Elementary right now, the old Chackbay Elementary, as their school right now. But the Little Red Schoolhouse is still standing, so I'm really, really grateful for that. But I feel like right now the kids that are going through elementary, I mentioned this on one of my podcast episodes as well, that they're missing that part of the culture. That's a foundational piece, growing up in the Little Red Schoolhouse, going there and whatnot. And so they're missing out on that. So
is it going to be rebuilt, or what is the...
So what's happening is it's dirt right now where Bayou Buff Elementary was standing. However, they are rebuilding.
Okay.
However, the Little Red Schoolhouse is towards the back of the land. So it's kind of set off in its side. So it's all dirt right now, and then the Little Red Schoolhouse all the way in the back.
But the Little Red Schoolhouse is still standing?
It is.
Okay, cool.
That's
great. Yeah.
It is.
And what is Chackbay like for people that don't really know? Like, how would you describe it?
Time goes slow, man. You know, but I love it because there's a Dollar General, there's a bar, Harvey Cypress Inn, call them Harveys. So there's that. Down the street, when you go more into Bayou Buff, there's the restaurant Trudy's. And then after there's Zam Swamp Tours. Love Zam. Shout out ZZ. You know, definitely, of course. Great guy, great human being. But that's pretty much it. You know, it's not a lot there.
It's really a small town. How far is it from Thibodaux?
About 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, great. And so you went to Chackbay, so Bayou Buff Elementary, Chackbay Middle?
So, no, 6th Ward Middle.
6th Ward?
Yeah.
What is the 6th Ward?
So 6th Ward kind of encapsulates Bayou Buff, Chackbay, and Choctaw area.
Got it.
You know,
Okay,
so
Bayou Buff,
everybody
Chackbay,
from that
Choctaw.
area goes to 6th Ward Middle School.
6th Ward, Bayou Buff, Chackbay. What was the other one? Kramer? No.
Yeah. So
Kramer.
Bayou Buff, Chackbay, Choctaw. So it's
okay,
kind of
cool.
like the tribe blend, like I was saying
I haven't
earlier.
heard of Choctaw
They
before. I
all
guess
go there.
Is it smaller than the other ones? No.
It's kind of it is smaller.
Okay, got it.
You know, so it's all small towns. You know, like I said, Chackbay, Bayou Buff, Choctaw. There's all little small towns, but they're all right next to each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little triangle of a community.
Right.
I feel like.
So 6th Ward Middle and then Chackbay High? No.
No, Thibodaux High.
Thibodaux High.
So yeah, we don't have a high school.
You don't have a high
so
school
yeah,
up
we just
there.
went straight up to Thibodaux High.
Okay, cool. And was there like a culture clash, or like were you like going from a small town to the big city? Was that
It was a little different.
Yeah.
It was a little different in ways and whatnot. But you know, we hung out with everybody, man. Like that's the thing. I was a student trainer and a manager. Not really like a Bobby Boucher type, but I was the water boy. You know, for Thibodaux High. You know, varsity football and basketball all 4 years. So I thought that was really cool. But that was the thing. So we all hung out with everybody and had a good old time, man.
And at what point, what was your like conception of your identity, so to speak, at that age? Like now you do a show about like Louisiana culture and the Bayou culture. Were you aware of like you were like a Bayou kid and you were Cajun or
Yes
whatever?
and no, because you know when I grew up, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa. You know, my grandpa, my papa, that was on my dad's side, and which I have another story from my mom's side. But from my papa, he grew up in Choctaw, and so I used to go fishing with him a good bit. And all the times when I used to go fishing with him, it was funny because that's when I learned a lot of Cajun French. Of course, it was the bad Cajun language. You know what I'm saying? It was the curse words and whatnot. But every time we went fishing. Sometimes I had the line caught in the tree, so it was always the la mad and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of that. But no, I enjoyed that time with my grandpa going fishing and whatnot. And so I knew I was a Bayou kid going to high school, but it was kind of I didn't know it until, or it didn't come full circle until later on. Like you were talking about earlier, the Grand Rivet. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like now. We get a part of our culture, and I think it's a lot magnified on that level, and I love it. I love every single minute of it because finally I feel like, you know, South Louisiana in general is on the map now, you know, in ways that it was never before.
Right. No, definitely. And did you go to college at Nicholls?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I did. I always knew I was going to Nicholls. My dad worked there, retired from there. And so I was a Nicholls kid growing up. I grew up on that campus. And so I went from a bachelor's there and went from a master's degree there. And I'm blessed enough to have been working there for the past 10 years.
Very
so
cool.
It's really, really neat. Just the culture there and just growing up, like I said, in the campus life. I was a student leader there as well. So that, and it's funny because in high school, I was a total introvert. I wasn't involved in hardly anything. And then college came around and I was involved in a lot of student organizations. So I became more of an extrovert. And now I feel like it's kind of like the blend. It's more of an extroverted introvert.
Right. Totally. I feel that way too sometimes, like, because especially if you're doing interviews all the time.
At the end of the day, you shut down.
Yeah,
like, turn the switch off. That's it. You done. You know what I'm saying? I'm cooked. So
I just
that's
wanna
it.
watch
you
a
know?
movie, like
That's the best
decompress.
thing. It brings you in, so
Yeah.
you good.
No, totally. Okay, wait. So then, so Nicholls, what is it like going to school at Nicholls? It's one of those schools. Like, how does it compare to an LSU or something? Like, did you live on campus
So
or?
I didn't. I commuted.
Right. Okay, that
So,
makes sense.
however, for the students that do live on campus, it's a different way of life because you were literally on campus, right? So it's these events that happen late at night and whatnot. You can actually go to it and then just walk over to your residence hall like right after, and not a big deal. But if you live an hour away for the commuters or whatnot, then okay, you have to put all that stuff into consideration. You know
Right.
what I'm saying with anything else. But it's just a great time. Just campus life and whatnot. There's a lot going on. We have a lot going on right now at Nicholls. A lot of facilities are being built currently. So you see a lot of construction going on. We have the Coastal Center, be that coastal hub,
Totally.
and we're building a nursing facility as well. We have the nursing building. However, it's going to be more of an annex type building that they're going to have like more of the nursing labs and whatnot in there. And so a lot going on campus.
Well, it is just a huge. I think we need to get more Cajun and like Cajun French stuff going on there. I know there's a French program. I know some of the professors, and we were talking with Misty about the Cajun Music Preservation Society, etc. But it really is. I guess it's the university that's closest to the coast in Louisiana, and so I really appreciate how it can be like a hub, for so much down here. And then, okay, so what was your story about your mom's side?
So my mom's side, so my grandpa, my mom's dad, so he retired from McDermott, and so after he retired, he was part of a Cajun band. Well, he was kind of always played music and whatnot all his life, but he was in a Cajun band called the Frisson.
The Frisson.
The Frisson.
Good word.
And so they kind of traveled around. They went to Edwina's restaurant. That's in Kramer, or it used to be in Kramer, should I say? But they used to travel all around, play music and whatnot. Well, he developed a heart condition in about 95, 96. And his fiddle, he said, well, look, when my last day comes around, he said, I want that fiddle to be passed on down to Grant. And I was little at the time, man. And so I didn't know anything about it, right? So it's not, once again, the heritage isn't as prevalent as what it is now. And so years went by, never touched it, just kind of sitting in its case. And then just a few years ago, I caught the wild hair and I said, you know what? I said, it's time. It's time. It needs to happen. So I bought a new case for it, bought some new strings, got a new bow for it and everything like that. Cleaned it up real nice. After that was finished, I said, okay, now it's time to take lessons. Lo and behold, 2 weeks after I said that, and it's funny that stories tie up, Waylon Thibodeau's summer lessons came about through the Cajun Music Preservation Society. And I said, wow, let's go.
That's meant to be,
so it's meant to be. It was meant to be. And so I signed up for it, took the 6-week lessons, and I never put it down since. And it's funny because I actually took a redo. They just had the lessons this past summer, so I did a little redo with the lessons, a little refresher. That's what I was going to say. And so we did that this past summer, so really enjoyed that. And it's through all of that, the story about how the podcast somewhat came about. But we can get more into that a little bit.
Okay,
later.
cool. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about that in a second. But then the other thing I was wondering is, how do you situate the like Bayou region within Louisiana? Because it's this thing where it's kind of part of the New Orleans metro area, but on the outskirts. Like, do you claim New Orleans too, or do you just feel like Home of Thibodeau is its own thing, or how do you view it?
I feel like we are our own thing, and it's funny because growing up, I went to New Orleans a lot to Children's Hospital and whatnot, so that was a whole thing in itself. But went to Children's Hospital a lot in New Orleans, so I did visit New Orleans. However, I feel like our culture on the bayou is a little bit different.
Oh, well, definitely, yeah.
So it's like it's very unique. It's like its own little bubble, and so some people they live and stay in their own little bubble, and so I've never left, so it's like I don't plan on it either. So that's the thing, but everybody visits it and everything like that, different places and whatnot. But I think it is its own little community.
Yeah, right. And it's a lot of people down here. People don't realize it's like almost 200,000 people between the two parishes.
Great deal.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So how did you get the idea for the Grand O show?
So years back, at Nicholls, I was an undergrad. I went into teaching. And then eventually I decided, hey, teaching, it's great. God bless the people that are going for teaching.
We need the teachers. Yeah, right.
We really do. We really do. God bless them. But it wasn't for me.
Right.
And so when I pivoted, my Twitter handle, X handle, whatever you want to call it at the time, was Hey Mr. Grant. And so when I changed out of teaching, I knew, okay, well, I can't do this anymore. So I ended up changing it to the Grant O Show. And I'm like, this sounds a little catchy, right? And I was also the public address announcer for Nicholls baseball at the time as a junior, senior in college. So that kind of, but then that's when the seed was planted. And I said, okay, well, we'll see. So years down the road, the Twitter handle was still that. And I said, well, maybe it's time to start a podcast.
Make it a show.
Yeah, right. Make it a thing. Make it an actual thing. So I just started with it. I wasn't a mass comm major.
And what year was that, you said?
Just a couple years ago. So I've been having the podcast for about a year and a half now. But the seed was planted a few years back.
Yeah, clearly, right, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the thing. So when it got started with it, I mean, I didn't know anything about it. And so I had to learn all that. And so we just got started with it, and hey, here we are. And
was the focus, what did you view as like the focus?
South Louisiana.
South Louisiana, broadly.
Because there's so many niches for podcasts. I feel like a bunch of people have a podcast now.
Right.
And different niches and whatnot. But I felt like if I wanted to plant it here in South Louisiana, every little niche, I would have ran out of content so quick because, once again, own little bubbles, right? But if I make it a more broader scope of South Louisiana, all right, we can talk all day about so many different topics. We can talk about the food. We can talk about business life and entrepreneurs. We can talk about education and teachers. We can talk about, so many different things, business owners and whatnot, nursing, healthcare and whatnot. So many different topics to go along with it. And I felt like that was just a beautiful thing.
Definitely. And, okay, so then did you start focusing on like home at Thibodaux, or were some of your early people more Lafourche Terrebonne, or from the beginning were you trying to do a little bit everywhere?
From the beginning, work with who you know. I guess
yeah, right,
at
exactly.
the time.
Start with your hometown, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, list of contacts. I sat down one day during Christmas break and I just literally penciled in a bunch of names. And then eventually, once the calendar year started, I was like, all right, let's jot it down. Let's fit them all into certain little schedules and whatnot. And it's a week by week podcast. So that was the kind of thing. But then I started branching out a little bit further and whatnot. And I started, getting a little bit confidence. I'm like, all right, let's start reaching out to people and whatnot. And so that worked out really well. And thus far. So like, hey, let's keep rolling with it.
Yeah, keep it rolling. How many episodes have you done?
So thus far, published out right now to this day, 68.
68, wow, that's
yes.
a lot, yeah.
However, I did do 70 interviews. It's just, rolling out.
Edits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how it is. Okay, so then who is the most famous person you had on the podcast?
Most famous person, good question.
Or people.
So I've had the Cajun Ninja. I recently had the Cajun Mamas, Cole Malone.
Cajun Mamas, I was thinking them, yeah.
They were really great.
Because they're from Church Point?
Yes.
Okay, cool, got it.
Yes, so that was a really great interview for sure. And I also had ZZ Loop. It was towards the very beginning of it, so I had him on as well. Great storyteller as well for sure. So I had on a few, so it was all great. But it's a lot of people that you can see. Kyle Crosby as well. My boy.
That Gumbo review.
And that's it. And so, so many people, but I find it's cool because I interview people that you can literally see in the grocery store.
Yeah,
when
totally,
you're going shopping. Yeah. So it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I saw you on, the podcast or whatever. And so it's just people you can see in everyday life. So I think that's a cool thing.
That just have interesting personalities too, yeah. Totally. And so what is the most unexpected or surprising thing that someone said to you on your podcast?
It had to be something food related.
Yeah.
Tomatoes belong in gumbo. Do you put potato salad in the gumbo?
Oh, wait, so where are you on the potato salad?
In. All the way in. That's it.
Somebody from Pointe aux Chênes earlier, we did an interview with Donna Dupree, who speaks really, really good French, really good French, perfect French, perfect Louisiana French. And she was like, potato salad in the gumbo. And
All
I was
day.
like, I think you can't criticize that. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, and look, I respect whatever you feel. All right.
Yeah.
If you say, "Hey, I want it on the side," and I just dip a little bit in the gumbo and whatnot, that's great. You know what I'm saying? If you do put tomatoes in your gumbo, I personally don't like it, but that doesn't mean
a bit of a red
it's-
flag. But
You know, but that doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. You know, because I had on. It's funny we say that I had on a Chubby Carrier on my podcast and whatnot just a few weeks back, and he said, everybody makes a different gumbo, which that's the truth. Everybody's gumbo tastes different, and it's not supposed to all taste the same. My grandma's gumbo may not taste like your grandma's gumbo, but it's all kind of different things and whatnot. But hey, you know what? I like what I like, you like what you like, and hey, I respect it. So we all different, and
say
the way it
ball.
is.
Okay, so then last question, do you have a dream person that you want to have on your podcast?
Of course.
Who is that person, or who are those people?
I will say they have an interesting story, especially as in the last year. I will say Lana Del Rey.
Lana Del Rey.
Hey, you got to dream
Jeremy
big.
Dufresne.
Yeah, Jeremy Dufresne and Lana Del Rey. That is like, that'd be great.
Desalmans people, hit up Granto.
That would be great.
Make it happen.
That would be great.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be him for Halloween.
Are you?
Jeremy, yeah.
I think I might be Chit. Totally not South
Totally not,
Louisiana
yeah,
related,
right.
but yeah.
Someone just sent me his outfit to the Paris Fashion Week
Uh-huh.
or whatever that it was that they were, and I was like, first of all, so proud of Louisiana. But then second of all, I was like, this would be a good Halloween outfit. So.
Very true.
Okay, so then where can the people find you, as they say?
Spotify and Apple Podcasts, The Grand O Show. It's also at The Grand O Show on Instagram. And so feel free, give it a follow and whatnot.
C'est bon.
C'est
Will
bon.
do. Okay, merci beaucoup. This was awesome.
As well.
Look
Yes,
forward to future episodes, and thanks for all you're doing
Of
for the
course.
culture.
Appreciate you, man.
Okay. Merci.